Hey guys, it's time to unleash our upgrades with the Upgrades Unleashed Precon Upgrade Guide. Alright, so this is the new red, green, or cruel based commander deck coming out of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty that we're going to have a look at upgrading. We're going to do this in two sections essentially, a budget version of suggestions and a higher end version of suggestions, so that both sides of the coin can get the best options for this deck. So let's jump on in, and first off, let's have a look at the commander for this deck. Chorizo, I don't know whether I'm still saying that right, the Shattered Blade. 4 mana, 4/4. Whenever we cast, or whenever an aura or equipment ETBs, we create a 2/2 spirit creature token, and at the beginning of your end step, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that essentially has an equipment aura or a +1 counter on it. So my thought with this was, is this a Voltron commander? And you can probably not build it in a Voltron way, but to me, the most obvious and the most clear and the most direct path to victory for this deck is to go down a Voltron build. So if you're not into a Voltron build for this deck, I would look elsewhere for some other version of this deck if you want to go down the token route, or if you just want a sort of go wide sort of plan or whatnot, whatever. That's not really what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this in a Voltron style build. So let's get on into having a look at the actual deck list now. Alright, so now we're having a look at the Upgrades Unleashed deck list on MTG Goldfish. Again, always take the prices that are listed with a grain of salt. New cards coming out, people don't know what they do or barely know what they do or where they can fit and whatnot, and how much they want to pay for some of these cards, how much supply is there actually be, how many of these are going to be open, how popular are they going to be, we don't know yet. Old cards being reprinted again, so the price of any cards are going to go down because there's going to be more supply, but of course people still want some of these cards, so they can be still worth a bit. So do take it with a grain of salt. You can see the price there for all the cards in the deck and whatnot. We're not going to go through too many of the heavy hitters or anything like that. We all know what's sort of good and what's not sort of that good for the most part. So we're just going to go through the list and obviously take out cards that I don't think you should really have the time to worry about, or if you want to, you can leave it as it is. As I say, you can do what you want to do, but these are just the suggestions if you want to upgrade it. Take out these tap lands. Every time I have to say this, but take out these tap lands. Raging Ravine doesn't do anything for you. Oran Reef the Vastwood can do something for you, not nearly enough. Maybe Opal Palace can do something for you, so that's fine. Mossfire Valley, just annoying. These lands that you have to keep one other mana up to actually activate it, like a Signet, are just annoying. Gruul Turf, these bounce lands again, get rid of it. In a 2-color deck, I don't mind these reveal lands. They're not that bad, but you could do better, so you could take it out. That is pretty much it. I'm not going to keep going over and over it again. I just want to say it really quickly and get past it and get to the real cards that we actually want to really take out. So let's have a look at the real cards that are in this deck. And again, we're building this in a more Voltron sort of way. So a lot of these enchantments and auras I would take out for the most part, because, even though Bear Umbra and a couple of the other ones are really good, and Snake Umbra is pretty good, and whatnot, Rhythm of the Wild, some of these ones that are actually like enchantments that actually sit on the battlefield aren't too bad. Caught with the Kami is not that good though. Um, but like a lot of these aren't really that good for the most part. And again, auras are really weak. Auras die so easily, and you can't really recur them too easily. So I would take most of the auras out. If you want something that ramps you, like Ordeal of Nylea, instead of getting 3 counters on it, just play Sword of the Animist and get a land out, and then if your creature dies, you can re-equip it. So really not worth your time with a lot of these cards. Plus, a lot of the cards have been replicated with equipment and things like that. So equipment just are a lot better. So I think Bonehound can be not that amazing because, again, there can be like 0 creatures in graveyards and whatnot. So that's one I would think maybe isn't that amazing. But the rest of the equipment that are already in this deck are pretty good. You're in green, you don't really need Arcane Signet and whatnot. So I could see you taking that out, but most people will probably just keep it in because they're lazy. This Mass Chaos Warp, if you're into that chaotic gameplay, it can be decent, but I just don't see what it actually nets you. So I would take it out. A lot of these cards that are for the power or whatever of your creatures are pretty good. Those are pretty good because, we're going to have a big creature, we're going to have punch big. Shamanic Revelation going the other way, going wide, isn't very good. I would take Return of the Wild Speaker over this 100%, because we're not going wide. We might have some tokens from our commander because our commander does make tokens, but often we're not going to have that many real creatures. Vastwood Surge, we can just do better than Vastwood Surge. Decimate, again, it's so hit and miss. Just take it out. You can do so much better. Chain Reaction can be useful, but I think Chandra's Ignition is probably better for a deck like this. Starstorm, just take this out. Not that amazing. This basically, if our opponent's creatures die, it pings our opponents. Don't think it's worth the time or the effort or the energy. This gaining hexproof to our commander or whatnot can be useful, and giving it a counter can also be useful, but yeah, I could see you keeping it. Still pretty good. Primeval Protector, probably take him out. Doesn't have enough impact. Sky Scrap Slayer or whatever, take him out. Doesn't really do a whole lot for what we're doing. This thing can give something indestructible, can give our commander indestructible, but not really worth it. Whip Tongue, not really worth it. We want to block, if we want to block flyers, we want to block a lot of flyers. So Arachnogenesis or cards like that would be a lot better. Ox of Argus, I can see like this could be okay from the graveyard if you run out of cards, but just put more equipment in that have, when you do something, draw cards. When you hit opponents, draw cards. Loyal Guardian can be okay to put counters on our commander, so I could keep it. Take Abundant Acolyte out. It's not that good. We can do way better than the Acidic Slime, or just like run a Naturalize or whatever, or Nature's Claim. Usat, don't think it does a whole lot. We're not really going to do much with this, so just take him out. The Guidebot, take it out. The Trespasser can stay. Pretty good, I think, actually, so that could stay. Remnant Rejuvenator, if it dies, we get to, Rishkar's Expertise. Oh, no, not Rishkar's Expertise. Almost Vastwood Surge, I guess. So, not that amazing. Just, I would take it out. This Big Pig, we're not going to enchant or equip or whatever our opponent's stuff. This is a cool deck on its own. I would love to build around this. Tell me if you guys want me to build around this, but for this deck, it has to go. Goblin Razor Runners, whatever, take it out. Forgotten Ancient, take it out. Probably, for the most part, you can keep it in, but I don't think you absolutely need it, though it can be decent. Terry and Mauler, definitely take it out. Rishkar can be okay, but I wouldn't really keep it. Krenko, take it out. Kosi, this can be another really great commander on its own, but I don't think it really fits with what we want to do for the rest of the deck. This is pretty good. The battle armor. Grand Gully can put a counter on our commander, I guess, but not much else, so I don't think it's worth too much. Third lid, we can just take it out for Sakura Tribe Elder or something like that. Again, we are going to make tokens off our commander, so Champion of Land Holt can do stuff, and we do have some sort of +1 counter synergy, so it could be okay, but I would just take it out and put something in like a utility land or a equipment that basically gives unblockable or whatnot. Agitator Ant can be really good for us because, again, we can put the counters on our creature and we don't have to worry about it having to do anything, and it just grows our commander, which is really good. If our opponents take advantage of it, fine. That just means they're not attacking us with their creatures for a turn. Sakura Tribe's in the deck. This, if it's modified, it taps for 2 mana. We could just like put something else in, something better. Genesis Hydra can be good, but can also be hit and miss. So that would be another card I would take out. So those would be the cards that I would think of taking out of this deck. So let's jump over now and have a look at the deck list of what we can put into this deck for a budget. Alright, boop budget. Alright, so we're not going to look at many of the new cards because they're all in the deck. Not many of the reprints either because they're all in the deck. High synergy cards, Ranker can be good, but I don't like auras. But this is actually a good aura because it actually, when it goes to the graveyard, it comes back, so that can be really useful. You could go down the Enchantress route with some of that sort of enchantment aura stuff, putting in all the Enchantress stuff. But again, I always find that when your auras and whatnot die, it just was not worth it. So these kind of cards, though they can be good, aren't really what this deck is all about. Goblin Archaeomancer can be really good, might be worth it, but again, we're mostly running equipment and whatnot, so could also be hit and miss. Bolt Ben can be okay, but again, we're not really going through too many of these cards that just do stuff. A Braid can be okay, but again, we can find decent things. Inscription of Abundance can be really good as well, especially with the kicker effect. If you can kick it, it's really good. Whatnot. So Colt's Will can be really good because if we have our commander, we get both. That's pretty good when we get both. Otherwise, it's not that amazing. Visions of Dominance, the first time I think this card will ever be relevant in a deck since it's been printed. The flashback's kind of nice as well because, again, you can get to reuse it and whatnot. Let's be a non-budget card. Most of those are in the deck. Masterwork Ingenuity can be really good as well. Copies a equipment and whatnot can be really good. Mask of Avacyn can be good as well. This Belt of Giant Strength, that can be really good. Its equip cost is a bit hard sometimes, but our commander can also have huge power sometimes, so it can reduce that cost quite a bit. Fractal Harness can be quite good. Getting those counters on it, keep getting those counters on it, whatnot, so can buff up our commander quite a lot. One utility land that I was thinking was the one that returns artifacts. That one could be decently good. Besides that, in terms of lands, of course, as I say, get what's in your budget, but Rockfall Vale's pretty darn good on a budget. And that's probably pretty much it for budget, unfortunately. It's very hard to build on a budget. Sometimes you find things and sometimes you don't. Just look for things that you can get from your LGS for like $5 in terms of equipment and things like that, because I think it will do you a great service to find those sorts of cards. So, but anyway, we'll have now a quick look at the non-budget version of this deck. All right, boop, expensive. All right, I think Kadama could be really good, but that's also kind of hard to figure out right now. So, because again, it's another thing that we could get trample on equipment, and we could get again if it hits, ramp essentially. So, or just like when we attack ramp. So, I don't know how good it could be, but it still could be really good. Vorinclex could be good if you're going down more of the +1/+1 counter route. We're going more down an equipment route, though we do have some +1/+1 counter shenanigans. So it could be alright. Actually, Helena and Alina can be really good as well. Rabbit Battery actually is really good. I don't know why this wasn't in the budget list. Just gives +1/+1 haste for 2 essentially. Can be really good. I like Tybalt's Trickery, but I don't think it's that necessarily interesting or important to talk about. Jessica's Will's just brokenly good. Increasing Savagery. I don't know why this wasn't in the budget list because it was 79 cents. But that's really good. Flashback's really good. So yeah, that would be worth it. Chandra's Ignition, as I sort of said, really good. Escape to the Wilds can be really good. I don't know why that wasn't in the budget list either, or I didn't see it in the budget list. But anyway, that's still pretty good. Here we go. Here we go with some good ones. Shuko, I don't know why that wasn't in the budget list. That can be okay. Battle Axe, obviously insane. Any of the Sword ofs, really good. Commander's Plate, really good. Ember Cleave can be good. If, again, you're going down the +1/+1 counters route, the Ozolith can be really good. Obviously, the Great Henge is pretty good, though we're not going to have that many other creatures in this deck, so can also be hit and miss. Oathkeeper can be really good in this deck, so could be worth a look. Bonesaw, don't know why that wasn't in the budget list. I was looking at some of these ones that give defense and vigilance, essentially. We don't want too much defense, though we do want some defense. So it could be useful to have some of these and whatnot. Some of the Cauldron pieces sound funny and interesting, but honestly, just put Cauldron Complete in here. It's so much less work to have to rabbit around. Helm of the Gods can be really good as well. Obviously, there's some other ones that are out there that are still pretty good. Hammer of Nazan, pretty good as well. Whisper Cell Cloak means we can't be blocked, pretty good. Shadow Sphere, really good as well. I don't know why Buried Ruin wasn't in the budget list. Khan's Bastion can be good if we're down the +1 counters route. Tyrote Sanctum can also be good to put counters on it and make our commander indestructible, so it can be useful. Not going to go through the mana rocks because obviously, we don't really need that many mana rocks unless you're playing a real high-end deck, and you should know what's good if you're playing a real high-end deck. Obviously, again, same thing with this is if you don't have the budget for some of these cards, don't worry about it. Just get what you can because not everyone can afford a Tiger. But again, if you've got the budget for it, if you've got one lying around, toss it in there. Spire Garden and Stomping Grounds can be really good. We do have a lot of colorless spells in our equipment. So Firelit Thicket could be okay. Rockfall Vale, obviously pretty good. Rootbound Crag, pretty good. Compulsion Forest can be good. But beyond that, that's pretty much it. You can put Wooded Foothills in if you've got one, or if you've got the budget for one. But that's pretty much it as well for the non-budget upgrade list here for today. So again, tell me what you think about this deck. Tell me what you think about this upgrade. Was it helpful to you? Is this the deck that you're going to want to build? Are you going to build it in more of an equipment way? Are you going to build it more of a +1 counters way? Are you going to build it more of token storm? I don't know. Whatever else, you can let me know all your thoughts. Write them down there in the comments below. Really do love interacting and talking with you guys about the decks that you build, the decks that I build, all the geeky things, all the things about EDH that we love. So yeah, I'll see you down there in those comments below, or I'll see you in the next one. Hey, you've just finished watching one of our videos. A bunch of other videos are popping up on your screen now for you to check out, so why not check them out?